Hey everybody, Nick here, and today we're going to do a little disassembly and maintenance on this little guy right here. This is the Spyderco Knives Salt 2. This is the LC200 and Delica, effectively. It's something that, oh yes, we see here there are a couple of small differences, but not many. In fact, are there any differences in casting aside from the name here? Not particularly. So it feels pretty much identical in that way. But on the inside, we will see, the blade, of course, is a little different. Blade's a little taller, but we will see on the inside one major distinction, I believe. And let's go ahead and see how it is to take apart. Now, this is weird in that I have to take it apart from two sides at once. I need to take the pivot in this side out, and this screw out from this side, and I need to take these three out from this side. And I might need to remove the clip as well, but maybe not. We'll see. Okay, looking like T6 in the back here. Let's go ahead and pop these three out. These are going straight into the plastic on the other side there, looks like. There might be threaded inserts. I hope they were threaded inserts. But, yeah, we'll pop this out. Hopefully this will be an easier disassembly than the Delica regular one is, but we'll see. This does not want to come the rest of the way loose for me. There we go. And then we'll put this guy in the back there. And I'm keeping track of where things go, using these little things at the top there. If you're curious about this or any of the other tools that I use in my channel, go ahead and check out nickshabazz.com/tools. And there is a full video there. All right, let's go ahead and pop this out. That is loose. And now finally the pivot, which looks to be T8. Yep, D8. And now I should be able to lift this, or basically split this thing apart. I take the blade out of play, so to speak, and that just yeeted itself. Okay, that's, oh, here, this is the spring. Okay, so what we see here is that, A, that was easy. B, yeah, look at this. So we got a couple of things that are different here. The big one is, unlike the Delica, no liners. This guy is just plastic, the inside there. How the heck? Okay, we got threaded inserts in all the places where we need to be threading, which is good. It's not just going into the plastic. We have a back lock bar that appears to be coated in some variety of oil even before I got to it, which, okay, fine. And, yeah, let's go ahead and clean things out. No harm in the oil here, so I don't need to, like, search and destroy it, but I suppose search and destroy. But one thing you're going to notice is there are no washers here. What's going on here is just a plastic. It's just up against the plastic there, which is fine, I suppose. Again, they're trying to be rust-resistant above all else, and plastic is absolutely rust-resistant. So I'll go ahead and I'll apply a little knife pivot lube here to the parts of the plastic that contact the blade on both sides. And I'll actually clean off the pivot as well. I should have done that earlier, but whatever. So, just to make sure that's in good shape. This came very well lubricated. This is an unnecessary disassembly because this is just from the factory, right? Absolutely factory freaking fresh. Okay, so what we're going to do here is the classical Delica disassembly approach. So this little spring bar here, this little spring needs to go in here, right? The way that this needs to go is just like this. But the problem is that this is on the wrong side. You know, if I were able to disassemble, like in order to keep this on the correct side, I need to make sure that, in order to reinsert everything, I need to make sure that this is... I'm really doing a bad job of explaining this right now. You should probably go find a better reviewer at this point in time. Anyways, I digress. We're looped up here. What I need to make sure and do is, so I need to reinstall this back lock bar. Thing is, that's under spring tension from this spring back here. And I'm unable to put this spring in place and the lock bar in place on the same side of the knife. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to insert the spring here, have it in position, and I'm going to leave this little bit right out. Right, so I'm going to put the blade in, and let's see here. How the heck do I do this right? I'll start from this side. I will put the blade in position. Easy peasy. Now what I'll do is I'll put the rest of the knife together. Everything except that spring. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and put the pivot back into position first. I'll go ahead and I'll tighten it up. I'm not going to be able to get this, perfectly tight because it's not ready to go yet. But what I certainly can do is get everything in roughly the position it needs to be in. But yeah, this is a little different from the classical Delica approach, because in the classical Delica, the backspacer was a separate piece, rather than here where it's more integral, but, nonetheless. And this, of course, is acting very strangely because there's no lock in it, right? But okay, let's go ahead and drop this in place as well. No, that's that screw. And note that the screws are of different length. This screw is of different length than this one, so it's a good thing that I put things in the right order. Otherwise, I'd be, maybe not up a creek, but I'd be doing a little bit of trial and error. We'll put it that way. Come on. All right, so that's in place, and tighten, 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 tighten. Beautiful. All right. This in place. And we tighten, tighten, tighten. Come on. There we go. We tighten, 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 tighten. And then finally, we do this, and we tighten, tighten, tighten. This part of the disassembly is not the most interesting, certainly, but it shows you the process. Okay, so now what we do, these guys are in place. Everything's hunky-freaking-dory. This spring is in place. Now what I need to do is reinstall the back spring. Or I'm sorry, the back lock bar. The way that I'm going to do that is, because recall that this little piece right here needs to go in from this side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert it part of the way, so that it's just not quite sticking out there. Now, next step is going to be to set this whole thing in place. Now remember, it has to press down against this spring, and actually I'm going to go ahead and put the blade out this way. That way I should be able to get it hooked into the blade, and it should control the blade. Now what I got to do is sort of adjust the blade position as well as the bar position. Oof, that wasn't great. It kind of popped loose. What I was using as a fulcrum wasn't a good fulcrum. But my goal here is just to get this bar in position such that I can slip this pivot that it rides on into the right place. I'll go ahead and I'll leave the blade partly open. That should give me a little more flex. There we go. Can I do this with the blade closed? Would that be better for me? Yeah, a little bit. So, but again, my goal here is, see, I've got this guy ready to press through, and my goal is to use my thumbs here to move this back lock bar into a position whereby I can press it the rest of the way through. I'm going to loosen the pivot a little bit here. That's going to make my life maybe a little easier as I do this. Give me a little bit more play in the system. This is one of those things that's horribly frustrating right up until it's over. Right? Right now, I'm pressing against something that's not great. So we're going to go on ahead and try it again with the blade open. Actually, is there a better way to do this? No, I don't think there is. Okay. Am I oriented properly? I am. I just can't get this the rest of the way in there. Oh, hold on. I think I just did. Come on. No, not quite. All right. This is probably unnecessary. May even be dumb. But right now, this is being a little fiddly. It's not going together quickly. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of packing tape here, putting it on my pants there, just to get it a little bit linty, get it a little less sticky. And what I'm going to do is just put this around the blade. This is obviously not going to keep me safe if I do weapons grade stupid, but at the same time, it will make it a little bit easier, and it will make it so that I'm not as worried about my fingers back here as I'm doing this process. I'm going to use, I need an anvil of some variety. This keeps up. I'm going to need an Advil too, but whatever. I'm going to use the side of my Leatherman here. That'll give me a hard surface. Come off it. Again, I want to check to see if this is actually... Yeah, no, I could have pushed it through if it was aligned right. So we'll push this back through again and out. And we drop this in place. And we try to scooch everything into proper positionality here. Oh, I feel like I'm there. Yes, I'm in. Okay, good. And so is a chunk of my thumb. All right, no, we're good. Yeah, I popped that through, and life is good. Now I just need to seal the deal, so to speak, by screwing in this last bit of screw. Not amazing, but it worked. Probably could have gotten away without the blade thing, but that's one of those things where if you are ever in a position where for a moment you think to yourself, this would be safer if I did X, and I think that's a good idea, you should probably do that, right? Whatever, use your intuitions. And I just had a moment of like, yeah, this is sketchy. Let's go ahead and take the effort. No sense in bleeding on camera unnecessarily, right? All right. Frankly, not much sense in bleeding on camera necessarily. You know, generally recommend against that. All right. Let's go on ahead and... Whoa, that's a lot of blade play. All right. Okay. Tighten pivot down. Oh, yeah, actually helps if I tighten the damn pivot. Okay, that's way too tight. Where are we at here? That's a little tight. No play, but just too tight. Loosen this up a little bit more. Did I actually just loosen that at all? Not meaningfully. Back it up a little. Got a little bit of a... Nah, still too tight. The other possibility, of course, is that this part is what's too tight, not the pivot itself, but that doesn't feel that way. If you really over-torque this screw, it can actually have deleterious effects on your action as well. Deleterious, of course, meaning causing trouble or pain. A synonym of negative. Congratulations, you've learned something today. Probably not. Okay, oh, there we go. We're good. That's about the right kind of tightness. No play. Centered. We're all set there. All right, nothing too deleterious happened during the course of this review, which is a beautiful thing. Or not review, but disassembly. Time to upload this bad boy to the YouTubes and take it from there. Hope this has been interesting to you and that you have yourselves just an absolute... Oh, hold on, I forgot a step. Final step is to put a little bit of lubrication right on the back of the blade right there. Because that will just make this thing run ever so much more smoothly. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. Now we're done with the disassembly. Hope this has been interesting. Have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.